everyone. There is this technique out there. It's not a new technique, it's actually been out for years, but it's using a solvent, an orange oil solvent called Citrasolv and National Geographic magazines to create patterns and textures with the ink on the clay coated pages. So here are a stack of some that I just did. So here's my video showing pretty much the whole process, and it was so awesome. So if you're interested, just keep on watching. So this is the very first time that I've done this, and I just had to go out and get some Citrasolv right away and some National Geographic magazines. Luckily, I found a woman in Ottawa who sold me 48 magazines for 25 bucks. And I'm in Canada, so that Citrasolv is not readily available, which is very annoying. I saw a similar product, and I think D-limonene might work. There are products out there called Zep on Amazon, which I might take a chance and buy some of the concentrate and see if it works. But I bought this bottle of Citrasolv from the States, and it was $30, you know, including shipping and the exchange, which is a real burn. But it's kind of worth it playing around here. So as you can see, I've already wet the pages. I didn't film that part, but look at, I'm smearing this ink here on this, I think it was a monkey, and I turned it into an owl. I mean, I could just paint a little bit and bring it out and it would be an owl. So I just find this fascinating. I poured Citrasol right from the container, just dribbled it on, and I took that foam brush you see in the bottom left hand corner and made sure the pages were pretty much covered in it. And I just put the stuff on there, and it was around the 10 to 15 minute mark that it started really activating. As you can see, I'm smushing the ink around here on the cover, but it's not fully cooked yet. So I'm pretty sure the reason this works is because, see, that's what I did there. I just dribbled the Citrasolv on, and there wasn't enough. I didn't feel like putting it on those text pages because there's not a lot of ink. But it does seep through the pages. That's what I figured out. That's why I'm putting it on there. It also works, the ad pages also work. Not as well, though. But the reason why I'm pretty sure I know why this works is it's not necessarily the ink. The Citrasolv is a strong solvent melting the ink, but it's actually the paper. The pages are coated in clay, and what that does is it's kind of like alcohol ink, where it's not non-porous, I don't think, but it's more, it leaves it on a slick surface, so it allows the ink to smear around just like kind of like an alcohol ink feel. So people think it's about the ink, but I'm pretty sure it's about those pages, because one of the only ones that I've heard works with this are the National Geographic, and they're coated in clay, so that gives it that non-porous surface to slide around on. So I became obsessed with watching videos of people do this, and they're pretty old, so the video qualities aren't great, so I'm hoping you'll like mine because it's a little more updated, and the lighting's pretty good in mine. But what I didn't see anyone talking about in their videos is this process is actually known as Decalcomania, when you smush two surfaces together and it gives you textures. Max Ernst was the famous one who coined that. He was an artist, and there are lots of people out there doing Decalcomania. I know this because I have a couple videos waiting in my queue where I used ink and watercolor on the backs of photo paper to make Decalcomania, and I'm about to post those. But this process is actually Decalcomania, so I found that very interesting, and I'm obsessed with that process right now. So that's why I had to run out and get the ink and the National Geographics to try this myself. So here, as you can see, I'm doing this for the first time, so I'm really playing with the inks and seeing how long it takes for them to come up off the page. And just playing with my fingers, it just brings you right back to finger painting, and it's quite fun. And look at those cool textures it's already giving me. So I just go through the pages, and I try to scrub out a bit of the text and whatnot, and I'm just having fun doing that here. Also, as I go through, it's starting to really cook now, and the patterns are starting to come out as I move the pages, but I'm just scrubbing out faces because I don't want them to stay in there recognizable. The other thing I have not seen anyone do in their videos was, and when I watched their videos, I thought, why don't you toss some ink in there and make it, even more cool? Like, they were getting some cool textures and stuff, but I was thinking, why not put some more ink in there and get some more? So I go a little bit crazy here. I use all my Dr. P.H. Martin's India inks, and I also had my alcohol inks out there on the right hand side, and so I just went a little crazy. I just started dropping ink in of all colors, and then of course I got out my Liquitex gold ink, which is like my favorite ink, and that is some of the best textures that came out of it. Maybe other people didn't think of that, or I thought of it this time because, like I said, I've been playing with the Decalcomania, making page after page already, so I was used to doing that. Maybe that's why I thought of it to chuck the ink in here, but I think you'll really enjoy watching the ink go in these pages, and as I peel them apart. If you want to sneak ahead to the end and just see the results, you can do that, but I think it's probably worth watching the whole process. So the next time I do this, I'm going to change a few things because it got very sticky at the end, and I think that probably is the alcohol inks I use. So I don't think I'm going to use the alcohol inks again, but the India inks really worked nicely for Decalcomania, those nice textures and the pull apart textures. And when I pull a couple of these pages apart, while they're wet right here, you're going to ooh and ah, as I did. I love it, especially the white mixing with the ink in the National Geographic magazine. See, I'm starting to get those Decalcomania textures on these pages here. You can see those streaky sort of branch looking things. That is that's very typical of the Max Ernst Decalcomania look. I did not have any problems with the scent of the orange, the solvent in my house. I didn't even open a window. I was fine with it. And eventually I took one glove off because I just couldn't pull the pages apart with the two gloves on. So I ended up with one really inky left hand, which I'm not sure is the smartest thing, but I think sitting on there for under half an hour won't be too bad, I hope. The solvents, I mean, on my skin. What a sacrifice I made for my art. So I sped up the footage about 2 times, double time, and I went through I edited the whole thing that when the cool parts happen, like this, I went into real time. Because look at how awesome it is. I love it. There'll be more of that, don't worry. But I just sped up the parts of chucking the ink on there because it really doesn't need to be. There's my favorite ink right there. The gold Liquitex ink, and when you get that on there, it's just magic happens. I love it. So I found the most exciting part of this, me putting the ink on and smooshing it around. So the next one I do, I'm only going to do the pages and the solvent because as you can see, it's just taking a long time for that. Like sometimes the text on the background doesn't even move. So I'm not sure. These magazines the years are 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I think I got 4 or 5 years. So they're the more modern magazines. I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not. So the reason I'm not going back and checking, opening and looking at the ink after I chuck it on there right away is because I kind of have to work quickly so I checked it there, okay. But mostly I don't because by the end of the whole process, a lot of the pages were very much sticky and sticking together and a few of them ripped, which is fine, but I'll just know for next time. I kind of have to work fast and get the pages pulled apart because after about, I don't know, it was about 40 minutes, then they started sticking together and I couldn't, they really did rip. So eventually some of them you can't get apart. But look at that. How cool is that? You see how the pages are sort of becoming translucent? They almost look glassine. I think that is the secret trick to this whole thing is the pages are clay coated and you can see it in them because they're sort of see-through as the solvent soaks all around them. The ink is just laying on top of it, just like alcohol ink on a tile. So the next time I do this, I'm going to not put any India inks on. I'm going to force myself not to because it's so fun. But I'm just going to try to get some ink pages. But also what I learned is, you see how it's not really moving there? The picture's still just intact. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my fingers and mess up all the ink. And then just smear the pages around on each other and just go for like a full Decalcomania. You know, that's what you do, is you push your fingers against it and then peel it apart to get those textures. I'm not sure what the people in the videos were doing, how it just happened on its own. Maybe I didn't let it cook long enough. But as you can see now, we're probably approaching maybe 20 minutes it's been sitting there, and the pages didn't move very much. So I'm having to do most of the art making, if you will, by putting the ink on there, or at least smushing it around with my fingers. So maybe the newer magazines you just have to wait longer, or maybe all of them you just have to wait longer. I'm just not sure. It's my first time doing it, so I'm learning as I go along. But you see how that just nothing had happened to that. See, that images is just not moving at all. So I either have to move it with my fingers or let it sit longer. But at the very end, as I was peeling my pages, you know, after an hour at least, they still hadn't moved. So I'm not sure if that's just the new magazines or what. It's interesting, in the middle of the magazine this happened. You see how we have a really good pattern there, and of course I had to chuck some ink in, but there I just did some Decalcomania and peeled it apart. It's hard to see, but oh man, was it cool looking. So I took it away. Now I'm starting to take the pages. Every time you see me peel them off, I'm going to put them somewhere on a box top in my living room. My whole apartment was covered with these pages, and I had to keep my puppy Sherlock away from them. But you know what? He goes all zesty when he smells citrus. He goes all crazy. So he didn't want to go near them. He just took a couple sniffs and snorted and trotted off out of the room. It was actually hilarious. But see, the pages are starting to look really cool now. So I think it's about half an hour, maybe 25 minutes at this point in time. I don't know, my back was starting to hurt. That's all I know. I know. Are you oohing and awing as I was? Oh yeah, it's starting to look really good. But the little pieces of text are annoying me because I'm like, it's got these beautiful patterns and then the text showing through, which I have to get rid of because I'm not a journaler, so I don't like that text look in my art. But at this point also, the ink in the National Geographics are cooking well and creating patterns. However, if you just saw that, it just ripped. So the inks are getting sticky, but I suspect that might be the couple drops of alcohol ink I threw in there. See, that one ripped on the back. So now I figured out that, oh crap, I have to work really fast because they're starting to stick together. And pretty soon I won't have an open time to get them apart at all. So at some point I ripped my left glove off because I just, it's taking too long to get the pages apart. I just can't feel them properly. So I took my left glove off at some point, and I could there we go. I think I just took it off there, and then I could actually get the pages apart because they're starting to really stick. So another thing I learned, or I might have to do, is I might work with half a magazine at a time because I just don't have the space in my apartment to put all these pages. And second of all, then I won't have to be forced to work so fast. Oh, that one was a really cool one. I love this one. There I'm spraying alcohol on because I have to erase the photo parts and make it unrecognizable. Yeah, so if I work with half a magazine at a time, then I can take my time and I don't have to worry about half the magazine sticking together, and I don't have to worry about all the space in my apartment. And then I can take a little more time with each page and make the exact patterns that I want to come out. Kind of like this. It feels like I'm arting at the time, rather than doing it after the fact. Kind of preparing the images right now. But I have to get those photographic elements out of there to make it unrecognizable for sure. Just tossing on some more Citrasolv there to make sure it, all those penguins or whatever they were, make their way out of the photo so that they're unrecognizable. This one turned out to be one of my favorites though, because it's in like blues and sort of hazy, smoky blues. Like, look at that. Oh, I'm sorry about the glare too. That light it's just, it sucks because it's so light. I bought this special light to make videos, but it also creates the shine on the paper. Look at that. So I take that off to go find a spot to lay it out to dry. Okay, here, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Oop, there goes half of my bottle of purple ink, which is my favorite. Oh, so if it was red, it would seriously look like a massacre on my art table. Just keep going. Oh yeah, so that whole bottle just spilt all over everything. That's okay. It's a messy business, so there's a lot of purple pieces in this batch. So you know how you get a nice crusty loaf of bread and you pour out some real good olive oil and some beautiful espresso balsamic vinegar and soak it up with your bread? Well, that's what I'm doing with my page here with that purple ink. I'm soaking it up and then not eating it, but pressing it on the other pages. And look at the awesome patterns it creates. Yeah, so it's really starting to get sticky, and I'm not really worried, but it's getting kind of annoying because some pages are really in danger of sticking. And so I'm peeling them apart, and I still have like a third of the magazine to go. So I started working a little more quickly to peel them apart. And some of the pages didn't do anything with just the solvent on it. Wow, isn't this one beautiful? Yeah, so I just stick that off to the side. I'm running out of places to store pages. And you see my fingers there? It's a few days later, and I still have black ink all under my fingernails, even though I scrubbed them and scrubbed them and scrubbed them. So I'm nearing the end of the magazine, and at this point, either the pages are useless and I just gonna throw them away, or the page is like salvageable, and I just start smooshing ink around on it like this. Tear out a large not insert, but this long piece is really cool because it's a jaguar running across. So some of the leopard print, or not leopard, but jaguar print shows through, and I put lots of gold on there because I knew it would look good. And it's been sitting, cooking there for a while, and it just came out looking so cool. But the pages did, I think that it did rip off. It ripped in half because the pages get pretty delicate as the solvent sits on them for quite a while. So you have to be careful. Right here, I'm messing with the photograph so that it's just not recognizable enough, but that enough of the jaguar shows through for it to still look really cool, because I can come back and work into it and paint jaguar over it like in a stylized way. So I'm just kind of covering over and changing the photograph enough so that it's turned into a completely new artwork. That's what I love about this process. So this process here that I'm doing, just putting on the ink and getting a separate piece of paper, is pure Decalcomania. Just taking two surfaces, putting them together and peeling them apart, and see how I'm smooshing them together like that. That's the process right there. Okay, we're finally nearing the end of my stack, and I threw out a bunch of papers, and here I'm just giving you a view of all the pieces I laid out on upside down boxes, and look how cool they look. It's dark, and this is filmed on my iPad mini, which doesn't have the best camera, so it's a little grainy, but I wanted to show you how these things were all over my house. Little pieces of paper. Hi everyone, I'm finished with my Citrasolv National Geographic prints, and I thought you'd like to see the end results of this Decalcomania. So here there's a little bit of the jaguar. What is that, jaguar? Yeah, jaguar left there. So that's the other side. It looks like a big bug. Microscopic ant head. That one's pretty grungy, but I think I like that side better. That one is not great, so that's almost not worth looking at. One's kind of interesting. That's not good. This is like a dark purple and black and golds, which are complementary colors. It's a real nice texture going on here. And then there's gold. You can see the gold that I put in there. There's a little bit of texture of something in there. Another very dark one. That's interesting there, but too much text. Very dark. Another dark one. That one's kind of muted, grays, and that one's very contrasty. It's interesting. I'm not really liking that one, but it's whatever. Could probably pick a figure out of that one. Ooh, this one's nice. Not bad anyway. This is that one. I was trying to hide the text there. Ripping this one apart, try not to rip it. Uh-oh. Green and gray. That's garbage, really. Okay. Oh, is this a... Oh. Yeah. It's interesting. We'll have to get rid of this text. Was a double, no. So this one's neat because a little bit of the bird head stayed in there, and it looks underwater. That I was just smearing around. That's ugly. That's interesting, but you can see too much of the picture. You can tell that it's a photograph taken by someone else. Okay, here's a spread. This is true Decalcomania here, where you get a pattern by opening it or smearing something on top of it, but you can see the picture back there. It's a little recognizable, so I'd have to paint a lot over it. That's, I don't know, kind of interesting, I guess. Dark purples, just pure inky purple, black blue texture. I love it. These are ad pages, which is interesting. That's like teals and blues and dark. It's really nice. See, it was on an ad page, so you can make use of the ad pages. This is a really nice gold and purple. See the gold? Really great. It's just muted into like lavender tones. That one didn't really work. Or that one. This is one of the pages I probably ripped off. But I was thinking I could Citrasolv it again and get something out of it. I could crop something out of there, I think. More purple and gold, which I love. This is really nice. It looks like water. That's really nice. That's cool too. I hate when good stuff happens on both sides. This is real true Decalcomania. You can see those patterns, those organic patterns that happen from taking the pages apart. That is really interesting. I'll have to work that out. That's just scribbly. You can see the gold on that. Oh, this is a double page one, so see how it's a double spread, so I can make a larger painting out of that. Oh, look at the trees. I can just see trees growing up here and rocks, bushes. Very fantastic landscape. Fantasy too. That's really interesting. It's like faded. Even the clouds in there. That's interesting too. I like this one better because I put teal ink in there. Oh, this is a double spread again. See that? I'll have to work that one up. There's the back of that. I have some favorites. That was one of them. It's a very dark one, but you can see the gold. Here's another dark. This one's better, I think. That one's really neat. Oh, here's one of my favorites. See, whenever I get a lot of purple ink on there, it's one of my favorites. Purple and gold. Look at that. Look at the color. Oh, purple, gold, and blue. This looks like under the sea. Love that. Here's a really cool one. This text really ruins it. I'll have to put something in there to cover that or something. But it's all teals and white and black. But that's really nice. Oh, here's another double page spread. One of my favorites because it's all muted, soft, powdery blues. You get a bit of texture in here. And I swiped around. That's really cool. Looks like a landscape. That's a mess. Okay. This is pretty dark. And again, an ad page. I put a lot of ink on the ad pages because there's a lot to cover up there. It's not so great, but whatever. Sections of it are usable. This one was interesting. You can still see the tank top in someone's arm, but this pattern is interesting. It looks like a jaguar. And it's very dark. Interesting colors and textures there. Is this a double page spread? Looks like same. I think this is the one I spilt the purple ink on. They could go together. It's interesting. Oh, here are those light ones. Yeah, I knew this was a spread. Here's that light gold one, that's a spread. Here's that cover, that's the moose. It's an ad, actually. I'm not sure if I could use that. This one's pretty faded. This one's better. Very dark and intense. And there's a more faded one. The shape here coming out. Like that. Okay. Here is that butt end of the jaguar. I could probably paint over that. Interesting colors. Oh yeah, this is a spread. So I can put them together if I want. Here's another spread. I love this gold in here. I almost used up all my gold. I have to buy some more. It's like my favorite ink. That one's a non-go. It's pretty dark. And then, okay, here's that front end of that jaguar. See, I could put it all together if I wanted. See the whole thing there? And I could probably paint out a jaguar on top of that. Nobody would know if I made it stylized enough. My own touch. And then I could glue it onto a canvas that's that size. Anyway, so those are my Decalcomania Citrasolv pages. Hope you enjoyed that. That's enough for this video now, but you'll have to stay tuned for future videos on how I develop these pieces. I haven't done it yet, so I can't post them, but hope you enjoyed it. Drop me a like, subscribe if you care to, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.